when you look at the fintech ecosystem right now, where do you see the biggest opportunities?
People from outside think that we speak about the vision a lot just because people do it. Let me tell you what the vision is for foreigners and why that affects my understanding what are the opportunities.
Okay, so now for international investors looking at possibility of investing in Saudi Arabia, especially in fintech, what would you say to them?
If the vision goes even halfway, you already need to grow like another 20% per year for the next 10 years. It's very easy to understand the upside when everything grows so much.
When you compare the Saudi fintech ecosystem to the global market, how mature is it?
The question mark for us, the thesis that I banked on when I decided to come here is if we do a digital bank in a country so young, so digital, people will jump on it like any other digital service. It's a question mark. The answer is
welcome to On Point by Arqam. Today, I'm joined by Eze Szafir, CEO of D360, one of Saudi Arabia's digital banks. Eze moved from Europe to Saudi Arabia to take on this role, bringing global experience to a market that's rapidly redefining how financial services are built, regulated, and scaled. In this conversation, we talk about what it really takes to build financial infrastructure in a fast-moving market. We also explore leadership under pressure, cross-cultural execution, and what it means to build trust in a sector where credibility matters more than speed. This is On Point, real conversations, global perspective, and I'm your host, Somi Arian.
This episode of On Point is presented by STC Bank, driving financial innovation across the kingdom.
Right, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I know that you're learning your Arabic.
Yes.
Do you know what Arqam means? That's the name of this
no
company
clue.
that we are
I
in
have
right
no
now.
clue.
Okay, so Arqam means numbers. So I'm going to ask you a question that is, number worthy.
Okay.
I want you to tell me some high level, whether it's macro, whether it's to do with your company, but throw some numbers at me. I want to find out like what's been in your latest pitch.
For the
for
number
example.
hungry person, yeah. So
Yes.
no colors, no nothing, just numbers, boring
Just
numbers.
numbers.
So for all you boring out there, boring like being counters like my CFO that cannot see colors, see numbers, I think just the numbers will describe a bit the crazy growth of this environment and just put in the context. I'm going to give you the numbers of a startup, a fintech, a bank, in only 12 months from the moment you could say go. Okay, first I already said, it's about 2.4 million customers, more than 80% funding their accounts. 1%, actually 1.1% of every single transaction in this country, it doesn't matter if it's a foreigner coming, everything, 1.1% is done with a card from our bank, DC60, an orange card going there, same color of as Arqam. Remittances from 0 to about 6.3% market share in 12 months. By the way, unit economics making money in every single transaction, so we're not having like a loss leaders. It's very straightforward, structurally profitable business. Try that in another market. I mean, I know we're good, but we cannot be that good. The market is really there. What else I can tell you about the size? Well, the market is there. The profit pool for banking sector, I think, is like 20 billion, growing interannual for the last 5 years, about 6. I didn't prepare. I just know the numbers because I've been repeating this in our pitch to investors. So it's 16% growth. We discussed it's going to go like this for the next few years at least, just because you're in an environment where people are becoming wealthier. So it's prosperity, but prosperity needs financing. And people here have about less than 20%, I think 17% the number of a credit card penetration. That was going to go to 50 if you want, or 80. So Americans are at 80. Europeans are at 50 something. Wherever we land, do the math, 20% growth per year at least.
Yeah.
So the numbers are credible. So our Arqam, Argamin.
Arqam.
Argamin,
Yes.
I don't know the plural of these. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, it's
Wonderful.
crazy.
I'm so glad that that's going to make the Arqam team happy.
Okay, you got
I'm so
numbers.
glad that you had all those numbers ready. And this is what I'm going to say to all of the guests that come for future.
Get ready with numbers.
Get ready to give us some numbers.
Know your numbers. That's a test at Amazon. You should know your numbers. You do not prepare for that. If you're a CEO, you should know them.
Yeah.
So numbers are amazing. And the nice thing, if you put them into a balance sheet or a P&L, which is growing super fast, which is beautiful.
So now that we tick the box of numbers, we can go into the stories.
And we can talk the sand and the heat.
Yes,
We go for
exactly.
it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, speaking of story of life, tell us a little bit about this background, how you ended up in Saudi Arabia, how long you've been here.
Okay, so basically, I've been around the world for the last 30 years. I've been in America, in the US, studying and working. I'm from Buenos Aires. I moved to Boston, then I moved to Seattle. From Seattle, I moved to Amsterdam, the Netherlands, where I spent 10 years working for different companies, technology companies, media for Liberty Global, the Formula One guys today known for that as well. I worked for McKinsey as consultant. I served at Nike for many years as a director for operations and strategy for Europe, Middle East, and Africa, where I got exposed for the first time to the Middle East. That's where I learned that my name had an Arab meaning. And then I moved to Luxembourg. I was with Amazon, vice president for Europe as well. And eventually I ended up in Spain with Santander Group for another 10 years. And now here in the kingdom. So I've been moving a lot.
Very nice. Now, tell me a little bit about D360. What is D360? And how did you end up at D360 in Saudi Arabia?
So D360 is the first digital bank to launch here commercially in the kingdom. I ended up here about 2 years ago when the project was taking momentum. And basically, it's a story of somebody thinking about me and making the call, not to me, but to my boss. And my boss had the vision to be honest and say, you know what, you want to call the guy, call him. That's fine. And they called me, and I thought, well, I want to give it a try. And the reason why, I think, Somi, for the same reason you're here, right? So I think the world every 20, 50 years gravitates to certain places where things happen, where energy is there. In our case, capital, the initiative, the support of the government, the regulations, everything aligns. And it was at some point everything happening in Europe, probably 30, 50 years ago. And I think today's here. So I've been exposed to the kingdom for the last 20 years and in different ways. And you see the change, and you want to be part of it.
100%. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I can imagine, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So they say land of opportunities. It used to be America. I think now it's here.
I was thinking when I talked to friends, I don't know how it felt for my grandparents when they moved from Ukraine and Poland to Argentina, how it felt for Americans that moved to the Wild West and the gold rush, everything. That feeling of going to a place where things happen, when everybody thinking about the future and building it, and there's hope. I think that now I understand. I understand how it felt and the energy around that, and the fact that when you go early, like I think I did a bit, people call you saying, are you sure? Are you going to Saudi Arabia? And is your wife going to be able to get out of your house? Is she going to be... And 2 years later, they're calling you, Eze, is there an opportunity there? Do you think I can get a job there? And that's a bit the feeling.
100%. Exact same thing happened to me. And now my friends in London, they're like, Somi, can you help my husband find a job?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm doing that because I think part of what we do, we become, liking it or not, we are all Safirs, we are all ambassadors.
Yes.
And you have a responsibility, but you also like to share the goodies, right? And get more people that you like here. So once in a while, even I find somebody say, this person should move. And I have friends, I tell them, are you sure you shouldn't move now? And when they tell you, well, maybe in a few years I think about it, I tell them, I think the clock is ticking. I think the opportunity is now. You want to be early. You don't want to be when everybody's there, right? You want to be early.
And also, it's so beautiful because literally every few months when you come back, for people who come, I mean, I live here now pretty much, but for people who come every few months, they notice the difference, like every time. But even in the past 2 years, since I've been living in Saudi, I've noticed that, for example, there are many more places to walk. The quality of life, lifestyle, everything is the same here.
Absolutely, yeah. But still, let's say the hardship of moving to the Middle East in general in the last 20 years, it's gone. The GCC has evolved a lot, and in particular, Saudi Arabia today. I was driving and on the phone with a friend, and a lot of buildings that 2 years ago, there were skeletons. Now they're finished and they look beautiful. So it's starting to even look good.
Yes.
And then it has a thing which I did not know exists, which is 24 hours. So Spain and Argentina have something that you can show up in the house of a friend at weird times, and you can start dinner at 11 p.m. And somehow the clock is really 24/7. I thought it was an exception. And believe me, this place is crazy. It's 2 a.m,
yes,
and you have a traffic jam. People going from one place to the other, stores open. And now we are close to Ramadan. That is probably the most beautiful moment in the year, right? It's just like, for Westerners, it's a bit like those great days of Christmas, 4 days before, for a full month.
For a full month.
People are cheering. It's really cool. It's really nice. I was having breakfast today with a friend, venture capital, and he was challenging me, right? We're a digital bank. There's nothing new in the world about digital banks. What's the difference? I said, why on earth would we consider investing with you guys? And I told him he's American. And in America and Europe, 2 things happen, right? Everything's so flat, meaning there's no growth of anything. Population in Europe is actually declining. If you don't get more immigration, it will really decline. The market is super mature. Margins are being compressed for the last 20 years, year on year. To make money, you need to be much better than the rest. And it's a zero-sum game. So once you get a customer, somebody's losing a customer.
Yeah.
God, that's very difficult. Here, because we are starting, we are building the nation, it's growing so fast, we can go all the way to our exit. And our market share is going to be like, who cares? So just focus on executing and growing. And that's, I think, the big difference here. So I wouldn't say it's easier. It's not easier, but it's definitely more fun, absolutely.
We are going to come back to this exit situation because, that's a whole other story of how exit opportunities are opening up so much here. But before you came to Saudi, did you have any misconceptions yourself? Like, I understand the things that your friends were saying, but did you have any misconceptions yourself? For example, I thought before coming here that I would have to wear an abaya all the time, and and I found out that was not the case. So did you have any misconceptions also as you were thinking about bringing your family here? Anything that surprised you in a positive way?
Yeah, so at both personal business and personal family, right? I think on the business side, yes, a lot. So we have spent Westerners probably the last 50 years looking at Saudi Arabia as a place to go and get money first. So you don't think about moving and investing there. Tides changed brutally. That's one thing. You expect this place to be still an oil economy. So you don't expect to find a lot of entrepreneurs doing their business. We should talk about that. We did last time we met, you and me. There's a lot to talk about that. And at a personal level, absolutely. So I think when you look at societies, there are more Nordic societies, more transactional, more distance, more private. And then there are more tribal, more close societies. I come from one like that. Latin America is very... It's a very open society, and you talk to everybody, you meet everybody, you don't keep for yourself. So if you're from the south of Europe or from Latin America, you come here, you're at home. If you're Nordic, you love it because you find a place where people are incredibly welcoming. The Dutch are funny in the way that they're incredibly welcoming, but they speak English. Everybody, everywhere, right? And this is the same. You come here, my family, you can go anywhere. Everybody speaks English. Everybody's welcoming. My wife, absolutely like you. She can drive around. She's not wearing a abaya or anything. It's very different. The big misconception, I think, is women. It's women all across, right? The fact, I was telling you the story of the football match, the Real Madrid, the Atletico Madrid match. So I'm an Atletico Madrid fan, which defines me a lot if you know football. It's like hard working, like fighting people. and we were playing against Real Madrid, which is a classic derby for Madrid City. And the game happened here in the Kingdom, and the journalist was speaking to the Spanish audience, saying, "Hey, you see all these women that are there in the stadium? I don't think it's real. I think they just bring them here so we see women, right?" And back then, I believed that was right. When you come here, you realize that actually at the office, for example, I would tell you women are probably equally more empowered than in Europe.
Yeah, I agree.
I have directors that are women. I have in my C-suite a bunch of women. They have men reporting to them. And their relationship is very similar to that in Europe, if anything more relaxed. And how do my women look like? Some are totally covered in niqabis, others have hijab, others have nothing. And you really don't feel there is a noise around about the thing. It's for us a surprise. And we ask them and they look at us like saying, "What do you expect?"
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. And what I love about it is that like even whatever choice that they make in terms of the way that they show up, there is no judgment. Like, you can go in, the way that you are and nobody will ever judge you. Izzy, let's talk a little bit about your work. When you compare the Saudi fintech ecosystem to the global market, how mature is it? Where would you put it in, like if you were to compare it in terms of the maturity of the market, the challenges, the opportunities? How would you describe it?
The question mark for us, the thesis that I banked on when I decided to come here is, if we do a digital bank in a country so young, so digital, people will jump on it like any other digital service. It's a question mark. The answer is, it's amazing. We've been here, we launched 12 months ago only, and in 12 months we already have more than 2.4 million customers. It's flying, more than 80% active putting money in the bank, using it every day. And that's because you do have this combination of young people, growing population, rich, educated. Then when you go to the market, the business fintech side, what you have is very similar. And I think it has to do a bit with this vision where the country knows what's required. They ask the question. They say, we need movie theaters. How many? This many. Boom, you have them. So legislation, there. Central bank, is not. You don't have to push them. They pull. They go faster than you. So when you do this, eventually the result is that it's a very mature environment. I think the stock exchange here, we can ask if you ever talk to the guys of CMA and Tadawil, the stock exchange. They have. They were telling me the other day. I was talking to one of them, and the pipeline of IPOs is crazy. The amount of companies, fintechs that are already going to be IPO'd. I mean, we were incubated by a startup, a fintech, by the Raya Financial. So the conclusion is, I'm getting long on this, but the conclusion is very mature market. Regulations are there. There is an investment community incredibly active. Foreigners want to invest here because they realize this is the timing. And on the other hand, we are starting. You're early. Very few fintechs, about 200, but starting and growing. So it's a combination of you're early to a place that is ready. You know what I'm saying?
You see, in Europe, US, there are a lot of existing structures that are old. And if you want to innovate, you are going to have to either go through them or around them. Yeah. But I think in Saudi, maybe we don't have that challenge to the same degree because everything started with a blank canvas over the past few decades, right?
Yeah, so that's actually probably beyond fintech. So I think that's probably, if I understood, I think it's probably where the opportunity comes, right?
Yes.
So if you think about all the verticals that are, so this is a nation-building exercise, like probably doesn't happen in the last 50, 70 years in the world. So you have an opportunity, and what does it mean? It means that there are verticals that are going to grow super fast. I mean, it's going to be a lot around education, around everything from waste management, mining, energy. Everything's happening here. So I think, and it applies to fintech as well. So I think the world learned a lot in the last 20 years by errors and mistakes and learning again and trying again. At least we at D360, we are just cheating. We know what works, what doesn't work. We just go straight to what works, right? So you're able to apply lessons learned straight without spending the time. Time actually is value, is money from shareholders, right? With the burning enough. So we go faster. So, for example, you will see that most fintechs would have done 3-4 years of customers and then eventually revenues and eventually profits. At 360, we have 12 months, 2.4 million customers, but we are having like lots of revenues. We are profitable in unit economics on every single product, all in year one. How you do that? Because we know how to do it, because the world has been trying and learning how to do it for 20 years. We come here, we do it right away. With a little help that the ecosystem here for banking, especially everything around the most complex part, which is the Know Your Customer, the KYC, is so digital that it's a dream. So, for example, when I came, I bought a car. I just moved here. I moved. That's it. Family, everybody. We landed here. We need a car. We went to buy a car, and the person eventually said, yes, you can get a car. You need to pay for it. I didn't have money. So literally, a friend paid for it. A Saudi guy just said, I pay. So really, yeah, I paid for it. My friend paid for the car. I didn't have papers. The car went under his name. About a month later, I get my papers, everything. He tells me, okay, let me transfer the car to you. We both take out our apps from the government, very simple, and I get a code, 43, in, out, done. The car is in your name. What? Yes, under your name. I looked, it was under my name.
Wow.
5 minutes up to up. So that happens with everything that has to do with identity, with Know Your Customer. So that's a huge advantage to run faster. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to have 2.4 million customers in so fast.
Let's talk a little bit about regulation. You did touch on it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
How does the regulation here challenge you and enable you?
So I think regulation is a bit, after working in Europe, in the US and different markets, Mexico, and I think central banks are very similar. They'll look at each other, they talk to each other a lot. So the central bank here looks a lot like an European or an American central bank in that sense. Very mature. Regulation is tough because they're supposed to look after the money of the people. So it's a guardrail for you to work. For people not used to that, it's very uncomfortable. For people coming from fintech banking sector, it's normal. The only probably difference is what I told you earlier, that in Europe, sometimes you feel you're pushing them to, hey, we need innovation. The guys here, it's called SAMA, the central bank. They have actually an innovation department, and they're pushing. And they are like, hey guys, we're thinking about that. Oh, wow. So they're a bit more, I would say, pro-innovation, but still they're a regulator.
Is there anything that you can talk about that surprised you about building fintech here in Saudi?
I think first thing that surprised me was the digital ecosystem, right? How digital it is, and it goes way beyond. We talked about the Know Your Customer, goes into transfers, into everything. It's very digital, works really well. The other thing is how many fintechs are being built and how fast it goes. And the reason I think it has a lot to do with what made Silicon Valley successful back then, which is understanding the ecosystem that goes from the entrepreneurs. These guys are incredibly entrepreneurial. So when this bank was started, the 360, I don't know if there were two or more, but there were two Saudis, Mohammed and Faisal, that said, we're going to build a bank. And young people thinking we're going to build a bank, not many in the world. You need to raise about $400 million seed capital. Yeah, we can do it. So that, yes, we can attitude that you have in places like, Bay Area, whatever, is what you have here. And then for that to eventually work, you need the ecosystem. The ecosystem means you need to find the people ready to put the money, the seed capital. You need to find the raya to actually be themselves a startup, a unicorn, incubate you, give you a desk and tell guys, work here. You need to find PIF saying, you're going to be our bet in digital banking and put in the money, correct? So the first part of the ecosystem is there, the money is there, but the most important thing is after the growth phase, which is my surprise, the exit route through secondaries with private equities or venture capitals, but also through the stock exchange is up and running, ready, and super fast. So it's exciting, the whole thing.
When you look at the fintech ecosystem right now, where do you see the biggest opportunities? Now, I don't want you to increase your own competitors, but I'm assuming that the area that you are in is a big one. But tell me, where do you see the biggest opportunities?
I think that's a good question. I will be careful with the answer. Now, to be honest, I think it comes a bit when you ask me what was your surprise, what's the difference. So people from outside think that we speak about the vision a lot just because people do it. Let me tell you what the vision is for foreigners and why that affects my understanding what are the opportunities. So the vision in the kingdom is something unique. Think about a PowerPoint done for a CEO with milestones, KPIs, and dates and owners. That for a country. Find one country in the world that the ministers they're supposed to themselves transparent. I'm a ministry of something. That's what we will deliver. This is our KPIs. These are our milestones. They're not all green. Some are not doing well. Most are doing great. They're all exposed. And by the end of the year, that report gets to every single person in the country, not citizens, not Saudis, everybody. I get a ping on my phone. I think I arrived here beginning of the year, about March, April. Ping, what is this? You see the link that says, see our annual report, how we're doing, like a company. Okay, now, when you read that, those is where the opportunities are, because you know they're going to deliver. So when you see, for example, and this is not secret, the penetration of lending, both for individuals and for SMEs, is very low in the country. They know they have to go to a certain level. That's it, my friend. It's going to happen. Bank on it. So if you can just make that happen, if you understand that it will happen and you want to be part of that, you will see the upside. And that's a bit what we see happening for us, right? So we are getting into personal lending. We're going to get into the SME lending, and the growth is huge. That's on our side. But again, redivision, there are, I think, 6 verticals. You will see exactly what opportunity is, which is huge. And you know, because of the track record, plus minus, they're going to close it. They're going to do it.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to see where the next opportunity is, they really need to focus on the vision to figure it.
Download the PDF and go for it. And then, of course, then you need to get into the details. But there are so many details, so public, how they're going to do it. So the thing is, you need to become, your companies to be part of closing the gap to the vision, and then you just ride a wave. Yeah. So you need to be part of the solution, and then you're there.
100%. Yeah, I always say, actually, we were creating some short content for social media, and one of the things I mentioned was that if you want to be successful in Saudi, you need to understand the vision and where the country is heading, and then you align yourself with it. If you aligned with that, then you're on the right track, and success is yours, because doors open for you that you didn't know existed.
Absolutely, and you know it's going to happen. It's not nothing is easy. It's not a walk in the park. It's work. It's hard. You're not the only one that read the vision. You're going to be competing with others. I think probably slowly, but it's happening. The best talent is moving to the kingdom, or not all of it, of course, but a lot of the best talent is moving to the kingdom. So it's a bit like, if I can talk football, I have to talk football.
Yeah, go ahead.
I get my Argentinian passport removed. I don't mention the word football. So the league and the level of the local league, how Al Hilal, which is not my team, I have no teams here, but Al Hilal was able to go to the World Championship and do such a good job and win matches against, I think they got even a Paris Saint-Germain out, whatever. That's a bit how it feels as a manager here. People need to know you come here, it's going to be a lot of smart people working, smart locals, and smart expats that move here. So the level is really high. This is not a walk in the park. This is hard work for a great opportunity.
Okay, so now for international investors looking at possibility of investing in Saudi Arabia, especially in fintech, what would you say to them?
It's very developed. It's very professional. So there's no difference in how you look at an opportunity, Saudi, non-Saudi. It's you will find it's everything you see in London, in San Francisco, you see here in terms of the level, the scrutiny, the transparency, the reporting, the due diligences, both vendor and SS, the teams are there to do it. The only thing is, and I see that first person with a D360 with our bank, is that you're privileged because you have these growth numbers that they say is real. Yeah, it is real. So the banking industry here, the growth rate of the size of the industry, the balance sheets, the revenue and the profit pool, it's not only huge, it just grows. I think the profit pool like 16% per year in the last 5 years. And if the vision goes even halfway, you already need to grow like another 20% per year for the next 10 years. So it's very easy to understand the upside when everything grows so much. And the downside, the haircut you do on things, if everything goes wrong, what happens? It's still great. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a matter of just for foreigners that want to invest here, understand that they are early, but the clock is ticking, they have to run, and that they're not alone. A lot of, so at least for us, a lot of big and famous venture capitals and private equities are knocking the door and saying, hey, we want to be there.
So you're now leading a multinational team. Mm-hmm. What's it been like for you coming across geographies and cultures and leading this wonderful team that you are putting together and moving forward together?
This is probably when we're saying how for foreigners, for investment here is such a good timing, the opportunity, the growth, everything looks rose. I think if there's something that is really challenging, and by the way, not different, probably not as bad as in San Francisco, but there's a huge war for talent. That's a fact. Both Saudi talent and foreigners, right? Just because there's a lot happening, right? And you're not the only one looking for the architect that understands cloud. So I think there is that's something, if you come here, that's something you should focus on and count on having a hard time, either through, paying more or fighting to retain. And that's a challenge. That being said, there is a pool that I didn't know existed when I was out. We developed a lot of software in Europe, looking at places like Ukraine and these places where I have great engineers. Spain actually is very good for that, at a lower cost than an engineer, let's say, based in Berlin or in San Francisco, right? Middle East has their own place. So we have a lot of engineers coming from Egypt that are very good, from Jordan, Palestinians. There's a lot of people working with us together, which is really amazing. And then the Saudis have a lot of universities that have evolved in the last 20 years that are very good. So, when I go there, my friends tell me, oh, so the Saudis are good? Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they all studied in the UK, right? No. So, yes, some of them, but the young engineers are just from the local universities, and they are very good. So it's difficult, but it's happening.
And culturally, do you also find any challenges, like as a leader, as you're working with people coming from different cultures?
Yes, but not different to other countries. So when you're in Europe, you deal with Europeans that are all different, and eventually we're all the same. Probably if you would have French and Italian, they will stay more time in the coffee machine, and the Germans will probably leave earlier, and they'll stay later talking. Same here. I have everything because people come from different countries and they eat different and whatever. But it's beautiful. It's nice. I mean, our cafeteria at lunchtime is like great to see. Where you see what people are eating, how they're eating, who eats with whom. Its culture is it's difficult. You have to be aware, but that's it.
We should do a day in the life of D360. That's going to be interesting.
There are some things that are really, I think, for foreigners would be to walk around with the camera and see, on the one hand, how normal, for their words, normal as the way they are, how similar it is on every sense. But still, for example, on Thursday, many times, which is our Friday here, on Thursday, we would have sometimes rice and the meat they cook here. And you can eat with your hands. Yeah. You don't have to. Not everybody does. I put a glove. I'm cheating. And you eat the rice with your hand, and it's beautiful. And you're there for an hour talking with your team about anything, football, business, what's going right. So you build also like that. And it's just nice. And by the way, it's good. Rice and it's very good. I like it.
Yeah, I remember going to MCIT. That's for people who don't know, it's the Ministry of Communication, Information Technology. And everybody was sitting on the floor. I think it was like a Thursday, sitting on the floor and eating with their hands. And the one question I had is, how do you keep your toes so clean? I don't know how they can walk all day with this white toe and do all this.
Mystery to me. And I tell you, the first time you start eating with your hand, it's messy. The hand itself, and then it just falls around.
We don't know.
You feel so bad, and the other guys are clean. Yeah, that's practice. Practice makes perfection. Absolutely. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. You did mention something about attracting talent from different countries. How are you doing that while building this local foundation?
I mean, I think we have an advantage at the 360, and that's it. It's just a structural one, which is the following. We are basically a technology company, right, doing banking. And in technology, what people don't want to do is to work with any technology is not the latest. Because the speed at which you get old or obsolete in technology is like rocket fast. So you have to be working on at DC60, we have the same architecture, technology you would find on the best, most advanced digital companies in the world, right? Absolutely, of course, it's all cloud-based. Yeah, absolutely. And we do serverless, everything is there. So if you move from a company, I mean, we have today our deputy CTO is a Saudi that was working in San Jose. And when we were calling him with my CTO, trying to bring him back, because getting great Saudis back is also important. And he was saying, yeah, but I want to keep working cloud, blah, blah, blah. And we told him, my friend, yes on everything. That's what we're doing here. So for both expats and Saudis, for expats, we act as a place where they can come and do their best and keep growing professionally while they're here. You don't age professionally here, you grow. And for Saudis, together with them, they either, when they come back, you bring them back. And if they are locals, they grow with them. Mm-hmm. So again, back to football, it's like having great football players from Spain and Argentina playing, and Brazil, fine, I have to say Brazil, otherwise they get upset, playing with locals, right? Everybody gets better. Yeah. So for us, even though we're technology and we are fully cloud-based, I think we're probably the only bank in the country, probably in the Middle East, fully, not just cloud-based, even with our core, everything in the cloud. So that's it's fantastic.
After you came here, were there some leadership skills that became more important to you than maybe you didn't have to think about them as much? And just a general idea of how did your leadership style change after you came to Saudi?
Actually, I worked Latin America, North America, and the US, including North America, Mexico, and the US. Worked in Europe, north of Europe, many years, south of Europe, and now Middle East. So every time you move from one culture to the other, and culture as a broad definition of Nordics, Southerners, whatever, you need to adapt. And that's a skill you develop by doing it, right? The thing that foreigners tend to do wrong every time they move is resisting it. You need to understand that there are differences. You need to adapt to them and just enjoy them. So you will not change Spaniards, you will not change Americans, you will not change Saudis. You need to adapt to that. The thing is that it's so international that it's not even properly Saudi, it's international. It's probably Arab. We all eat a lot of Lebanese food. So I think you need to be aware of the differences and adapt. But I always tell my team, they also have to adapt a bit to me, right? So we bring something with us, which is a different approach to certain problem solving, whatever, and they need to adapt to you. So it's somewhere in between, and you need to be aware on where you stand in that in between, right? Yeah. But eventually just being flexible and learn and listen. It's beauty in just seeing how other people do the same thing. And hopefully when you leave each place, you have something from them in you forever, right? Which makes you better. So if you can succeed in different places and enjoy it, then you become better.
Yeah, so leadership sometimes is a bit of a negotiation, sometimes meeting halfway, and sometimes you be like, okay, I put this down, this is the way we are going, and and people...
And you're supposed to be effective managing a team in Saudi Arabia, not in Germany or in France. This is not France, it's Saudi Arabia. So you better try to understand and do the right thing. So you didn't come here to do your thing, you came here to do the right thing, right? So you have to be cognizant of that and just do your best. And I'm sure if somebody in my team listens to say, oh, my Eze, sometimes you're very annoying about this and that. Yeah, I'm sure that's a classic. But I think we should do a conscious effort to do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to international executives that are thinking about moving to Saudi? Mm-hmm. Are there things they can do to prepare? What would you say to them?
I'll just do it. Just do it and fast. So I have a feeling of that the clock is ticking. Mm-hmm. When we started the conversation, we discussed this thing of how my parents felt when they moved from Ukraine to Argentina, which was back then a super rich, growing country, or from Poland as well, or how people moved to the Far West or the gold rush, etc. I think that time it's relevant now. I don't think if you come to launch a digital bank in 2-3 years, it's gonna be probably too late. So I think the message to my friends, what I tell them is, if you want to give it a try, it's now. Just pack and come. Yeah. This nothing that different to other countries. Just come and do it.
That's so true. That's why when I came to Saudi, I'm the first non-Saudi to have a media license here. Mm-hmm. And I called my company in peak time, because Saudi is in peak time.
Absolutely. yeah. But peak time is not forever.
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea, right? So I'm trying to document 10 years of the growth of Saudi Arabia from 2024 to 2034, because I think this is the peak time, you know?
And you don't feel, you say you're the first one, right? But you don't feel that's a disadvantage.
No. It's an amazing advantage. Of course, there are challenges, because sometimes when you are the first one, you need to pave the way. Yeah. So I think by the time the second and the third and the 10th come, it's going to be easier. But then they're going to have more competition. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So we are building stuff. So one of the co-founders of our bank, Faisal Al-Jaran, he's always saying at the beginning they had to understand regulation. They work with SAMA together. Mm-hmm. So somehow we are paving the way for others, as you say, but we're the first.
So we always talk about how Saudi is positioning itself as a global hub for fintech. Mm-hmm. What does that exactly mean? Global hub, regional hub, however you see it. How do you see that actually happening?
So I would say it goes way beyond fintech. So I'm in fintech now. I've been in many other industries in the past. They're building cars here. Mm-hmm. The car industry, the automotive industry, has a thing that is, it requires a lot of suppliers, so brings a lot of technology and wealth into a country. So I think it's very smart. We have 2 projects today to build cars in the kingdom. That's bringing, my neighbor is an engineer, he's actually head of engineering for one of the companies, and he's one of the brightest person I ever met, and he's here in the kingdom. So I think this is becoming a bit a place where way more than fintech is happening, and it's becoming a hub. It's not the hub, there's China, there is the US, always. But it's getting at that level of conversations. When investment firms are talking about that, when bankers are talking about that, this is a place where things happen. Which industry? Again, I just will read the vision, and you have them all there, but there's going to be a lot of logistics happening. AI, big time, absolutely.
Even real estate, like for example, the real estate market here is opening up for foreign investors, and it's very exciting. So I'm actually going to make a film about that. That's super interesting, yes.
And media, where you are, right?
Media.
Media as well. I mean, you get a license not being local. So that's all that is going to happen on all those areas. Clock is ticking, as we say, but it's going to be one reinforcing the other, because all these cars are going to be sold. And when you sell a car, you need financing. Hey, here we are. So I think the economy tends to be have a inertia and be even it has to be a virtuous or like negative cycle. And I think here we are everything reinforcing the positive thing on the other, right? With good and bad months, with more or less competition here and there, but overall it's going fast. So I think it's going to be for a long time the place to be. That's why. If you tell me, for my friends, if they are executives, just come. But for all those that tell me, should we move our company, it has like go there, invest in the kingdom, I would say there is a bit of a thing people need to understand, which is the market is here at a size and a growth now that you got to be there. Mm-hmm. It used to be a market that you could serve from. Just open your office somewhere else and then fly once in a while. That worked when the competition was not much. When the market was small, the market was not demanding. They didn't have the right to be demanding because they were not growing as much. Mm-hmm. Now you will find that they're growing fast, they're demanding, and great options are here. So if you're serious about, I think you need to open an office, hire local talent, and
be here.
Yes, you are here. Yeah.
And be here. Yeah. Moving countries involves risk. How do you personally think about risk today versus earlier in your career? So now we're talking about you as a person, right?
Yeah.
So because I think when you're younger, you have a different view of risk taking, and when you're in our age group, it's a little bit different. So how has that changed for you over time?
I got the question asked by actually the brother of one of the roommates of my kid, the brother of Ahmed, Fuad. He was asking me the same question, and what I was telling him is, I like to think when I have to take a big decision in life about the worst case scenario and the best case scenario, and then you hope for the best, but you plan for the worst. So what I tell them is, okay, and I do that when I hire people. I tell them, okay, close your eyes and now tell me, you've been with us working for a year, you took that opportunity, whatever, moving countries, doing something, and after a year, describe your nightmare scenario. Everything went wrong. Tell me, how does it look like? That's very important to visualize that for two reasons. If you cannot take it, don't do it. If you cannot take the worst case scenario, don't do it. But once you know it and you can take it, you know what to do to mitigate, right? So if you think, if I move to the place and I may feel like something may not go well, I will miss, my house, whatever. Okay, fine. Get a house, get your stuff from home, put it there, put a picture of your mother in your desk, bring everything, buy a car, buy the guitar, get everything ready so you feel you're at home. So you mitigate what can go really wrong. And then the nice thing of knowing what if everything goes well, you know what you need to work for. But if you cannot take the worst case scenario, just don't do it. And basically, I think life, eventually it's continuous of small decisions, but there are two things that make your life eventually when you look back. One is the big decisions you took without knowing. They can be really right or wrong, so you should really think about them. If you can take the worst case scenario, and if it's not a one-way door, if you can revert it, go for it. If you can revert it, but very few things you can revert. For example, when you move countries, they tell, but if I want to come back to Europe after 5-10 years in the kingdom, will I find a job? Fine, then just don't disappear. Mm-hmm. Go back often, talk to your business contacts, stay there, so you know what to do, mitigate. Mm-hmm. So that's basically, for me, the thing is worst case scenario, mitigation, one-way doors, reversibility, or the best case, right?
Is there any decision that you've had to take in your, let's say, work life that was necessary but uncomfortable, or uncomfortable but necessary? Oof. I'm sure there's been many of those, but let's think about one of the recent ones.
No, I think
putting you on spot here. So.
Yeah. So when you get sick and you get a doctor and you look at what they do every day, you say, "Oh my God! Thanks God we have doctors in the world, but I would never be one." So I would never be able to be a surgeon and just cut open a body, but people do it, and that's great. So the more senior you get, once you are having teams, what comes with it, which you don't see coming, is that eventually you need to take decisions that you're going to hurt people, friends, and people you like, right? Not just firing, which is horrible, and everybody know the first time you fire somebody, you don't sleep for 2 days in a row. But you need to do it because you are supposed to make sure the company is successful, right? And if somebody is not performing, you have to do that. And the other thing is the reorganization. You need to move somebody, promote one but not the other. So that's a tough thing of being a leader, and you don't have to be a CEO for that. Anybody who has a team goes through that. And I have to you when you hire people and they do things, you have to take decisions, and sometimes are tough.
Yeah.
But comes with the job, and eventually, if you think what you create is better for society, you advance the vision, or you are creating value for shareholders, that's part of the game.
Yeah, you're right. When I think back, I think firing people is probably the hardest thing that you can do when you're leading a company. Yeah. Although now with AI, that's a whole other question, and probably for another guest who is an AI expert who can talk about that. But has AI actually impacted your industry in any tangible way when it comes to hiring and?
I think so. By the way, we have half of our team is our engineers coding. If you code, you can really make a difference. It's not probably there yet. You code faster. Absolutely. For really bad coders like me, I can write code, and my CTO was asking me last week, but did you write this? Yeah, kind of. I say, yeah, you're ready. So if you're a bad coder, you code faster and better. So I think that's an impact on productivity. I think in our case, at least 360, we're putting all our effort AI to be better our customers.
Yeah.
On how we treat them, how we do things. We are really put our energy there, and it's coming. It's gonna be a storm.
What kind of leadership is required to build trust in the financial services?
So I'm not sure if the leadership is different or what the leadership focuses on. So, in my days at Amazon, there was this obsession with customer trust in terms of, if we don't deliver the package when we said, does customer trust? And it was there. So at Amazon, we were obsessed with customer trust. At Nike, we were obsessed with our brand and the attributes of the brand, how to remain young and athletes. I think in banking, every time you sit and you with your team to make decisions, you need to understand that trust is at a different level in banking. Trust is people's money. And if you don't pick up the phone on the first ring, first 20 seconds for 3% of your customers, not good. Try to make it 1%. Trust is going to be there. If you make mistakes with your money, trust is gone. So I think the only difference is that trust for us on our everyday conversations on what we do is at a different level. And you should take it there. So there are guardians of trust. I think the central bank and the control people do that. But that's not enough. It needs to be built in conscious, explicit decisions you take. Will this affect the trust of our customers? Otherwise, we don't do it.
That's
and that's
such
the
a
thing.
good answer.
That's the big thing.
How do you stay grounded as you're leading this big team? Because this is such a fast-moving environment. Do you meditate? What do you do?
So I think, my father was always telling me, if a friend is asking you, how are you doing? You should say great. Because if he's a friend and loves you, he's going to be happy. And if it's an enemy and hates you, it's going to be very angry because you're doing great. So I think the more we know people, the more we realize everybody's worried. Everybody wakes up at some point at 2 a.m. and can't go back to sleep. And it doesn't matter how senior you are. I mean, we all have a life and a work. So I think the fast pace of a startup where you're building every day and fighting it requires for you to have some ways to unwind and to be careful, right? The way how the brain works, which to get excited or to get worried, it's a process that needs neurons to be fired, and you fire neurons, it's electricity through excitement, and it happens that the more you fire, the more they fire, and the more they fire, the more they fire. So eventually, you have half your brain is like going crazy, and it's very noisy, and you just cannot go back because you cannot sleep, so you get more worried, and it's just a cycle. So the only way I think to stop is taking your time during a year, saying, okay, this year I'm gonna beat this thing, and I'm gonna make sure I know how to stop my brain. So in my case, I walk every day when I get home. So I'm a runner, but you're gonna run every day. At least I don't think I can run every day. So I run every day I can, but every day at least I walk 5 kilometers. And stress is actually getting a lot of instructions to the body to do things quickly. So I run or I walk. So I serve that purpose. So then the stress goes down, and then you have to do things that are really distracting you long enough to really cut the cycle of the neurons firing that, and that has to be redone all the way. So you either start reading a book and you read it, or you write something funny, or you chat with a friend about something really different. You need to have your stuff, right? With my CTO and me, we are both very, very bad guitar players. I'm worse than him, but we have no sense of pride, so we just do it anyway. So if you just sit down at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., try to get home early and then get a song, Beatles, try to play it, spend an hour, it will sound bad, but your brain went to a different zone and you will cut it. So I think it's important. And I'm amazed how people spend so much time reading and learning about how to run your business, your team, and they don't spend time saying how to run your brain and make it slow down.
So true.
So
and we have so many similarities in that sense, because I also go for a walk and jog every day. And I'm so glad that Saudi has got so many more places for that now. And because I love to do it outside. I know that we can do it on a treadmill, but I love to do it outside. And also I DJ. So
you DJ?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know. Oh, wow, that's cool. I think there are some, who was the Goldman Sachs?
Yes.
He's also
CEO,
a DJ, right?
Yeah. DJing is great because, it's a little bit like riding a bike. So once you figure out, the rest of it is just taste, obviously. And it's just a question of whether people like your taste. But it's easier than playing the guitar.
Have you run it publicly?
Yes,
Yeah?
I do it in Saudi. I do
You're
it
kidding.
at the French embassy party.
Oh, really?
Once a month.
I've been to the French embassy party
Yeah,
once.
yeah.
So you were the DJ.
I've done it quite a few times there.
Okay, cool.
And it's a recent thing that I started. Like it's about maybe since summer.
Okay.
And yeah, it's great. I
That
think.
helps you because your brain is somewhere else.
Yeah. Just thinking about music, preparing your, whatever it is that you want to play. But I think playing an instrument is even better because it really engages your brain. So, and that's what you do, which is great.
And you can do, if you go for the right instrument. So I when I was at university, I did saxophone, and that's terrible. It's so noisy that nobody in the house is going to be happy. Nobody at home is going to sleep. So that's not the right instrument. But a guitar, just can do that.
So, Eze, last question. What was the one decision that you made that changed the course of your life and career?
Okay, so it's difficult to say one, right? Probably two or three of them. But back in 97, with my brother, we both moved to digital technology companies. My brother moved to Amazon, and my mother, being a book lover, asked him, "What is that?" My brother said, "It's a bookstore." "Oh, my kid is going to work in a bookstore, so nice. And where are the bookstores? Can I go to one?" "Well, mommy, actually, they are in the internet." "Where?" "In the internet." "They don't have bookstores?" "Oh, my God, what are you doing with your life?" And I was moving to an internet service provider, which is more difficult to explain. It's just, everybody will need internet, mommy. I'm going to move into an internet company. What? So that response from people that I had to explain, and for a while I felt like, fine, that's okay, because you look for validation in big decisions in life from your environment. Happened again when I said, I'm going to Saudi Arabia. And they told me, "What? Saudi Arabia? Are you going to be living in Dubai or in..." No, I'm going to be in Riyadh. "Saudi Arabia, yes." And I felt the same. I couldn't find the social validation that I needed, and I still did it. And it has been transformational for me professionally and personally. But the speed of things here we discussed today, it's going so fast. I'm on my third year here. And again, today will be so much easier. Today my friends will be actually calling to say, "Eze, is there any opportunities there?" So that's, I think, the one, they basically moving here.
Wonderful. I love that story. What a great story. I think a lot of people would relate to that, people who come to Saudi. I had the same thing with the social, what did you call it? Social validation.
Yeah. We are weak. We want people to like what we do, right? And absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. This
Pleasure,
was a
Somi.
great conversation.
Thank you very much.